Welcome, fellow truth seekers, to our cosmic corner of the internet. Today, we are honored to bring you a profound and transformative experience with the renowned Andromedan contactee, Alex Collier. But before diving into cosmic wisdom, we kindly ask you to lend your support. Please take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon for notifications. Doing so, you help us amplify Alex Collier's knowledge and reach a wider audience. Together, let's ignite the awakening of consciousness around the world. Sit back, relax, and listen to the entire webinar number 25. Alex covers current stat, listening to the frequency jumps as it speaks, and much more.
Thank you very much for attending, and welcome to the 25th webinar. We got some good stuff coming. For those of you in the States, congratulations, you got a real present. Over to you, Alex, Sir Alex Collier.
Thanks, JP. Like I said earlier, you're looking very Gandalf today.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Yes, here in the colonies, we are experiencing the transfer of power. And at least for today, hope reigns. We'll see what happens. You know, we hope for good things. Just want to say that for those of you who are holding foreign currency and waiting for evaluation, the word that has come down to me through some friends is that the IMF is in fact and has in fact been waiting for Obama to leave office before they would let this thing fly. And now that that's occurred, there is hope and there's promise in the air that things will start to shift and there will be a change in the financial markets, the currency systems, where there will be much more parity and prosperity for everyone. Because I can tell you that virtually every nation is sick and tired of being broke. They're sick and tired of being controlled and manipulated by banks, people they don't know, and especially banking powers that reside in other countries. And we here in the United States are very familiar with that because we have what is called the banking cartel, the Federal Reserve, which out of the 9 banks, 7 are foreign that control the stock of it. So we know what it's like to have the ring put in our nose. So we'll see what happens with that, okay? I'm optimistic. I'm extremely optimistic about that. And I'm extremely optimistic about the possibilities of breaking up some of the establishment and the corruption in our government here. America is still an amazing country that I don't believe has ever reached its potential. And it would be lovely if we could reach that potential, all of us. Which leads me to the current stats. So we're going to do current stat first, okay? There is an incredible amount going on the planet and off the planet. And that's an understatement. I can't expand on that anymore or exaggerate on that any more than the English language allows me to. I don't know if you're if you're aware of the rumors and things that are coming in out of Antarctica again, you know, regarding the spaceships that they have found frozen in the ice, the animals that they have found frozen in the ice, and the 12 and 14-foot human beings that they have found frozen in the ice. This is just a portend of the other things that will be found and discovered there. Just an extraordinary time for humanity. And why it is predominantly important is that, you know, our true history has been hidden from us for tens of thousands of years. And that has been coordinated, purposely done, to disempower us, to convince us that we are far less than we truly are, that we are worth far less than we truly are, that we have no rights, and that we should be happy to just be alive and to accept our state of servitude. Now, we have talked before in previous webinars about creating a domain of knowing. And, you know, that's in the notes. I've talked about this for 25 years now, almost 25 years. God, it went by fast. So we're gonna go to the next step on this. Okay, now the United States, it actually began with the Magna Carta, even though it wasn't fulfilled. It then became the Constitution of the United States with the Bill of Rights, where it declared that everyone had sovereign rights because they were had a soul and they were born and they had God-given rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they attempted to create a constitutional republic that would be restrained by a contract with the people and the states, which is called the Constitution. Unfortunately, we allowed the government to take control of our educational system, and therefore those limitations and the concepts and the ideas and the knowledge that generations would need to continue to maintain that contract in place to protect the people from its government has been lost. So now a brand new awareness is being made of that, and it appears that things are shifting, but it isn't shifting just here in the United States. This is going on worldwide, and it has been for some time. So let's just get into current stat. We have the New World Order doing everything it can to retain power. It doesn't appear that that's going to happen, which is a very, very good thing. They are trying to put the screws to everyone and shut everything down and return the planet to essentially a prison slave state, because when the Anunnaki left, that is the state of which they left humanity. When they left, they didn't take the half-breeds with them. We know them as the Elohim. The Elohim were the offspring, the half-breeds. They were not allowed to leave, however, they were left in charge. They were not as tyrannical as their parents. And that's how I'm referring to the Anu and Lil family group, family pod. Okay? So we were given some freedom. A lot of horrible things have happened. There's no question about that. Human history is not pretty as far as wars, etc., etc. But things did shift for a while, and there was some real, genuine progress. And for the first time, humanity could see itself operating as a single race. Then there was a great idealistic idea of putting together a place where all of the countries could sit down and talk to each other, which was the United Nations. Unfortunately, that political body has become absolutely useless because it's run by politicians and not real people who genuinely want to make a change. There may be a few sprinkled in there, but certainly not enough to make anything real, any real change happen. And last year they approved the UN Agenda 21, which is the elimination of 1/2 to 2/3 of the world's population by a specific date somewhere in 2030. So we can't trust them. We can't use them at all in any way. So they have to go, because now they're an enemy of humanity by, even agreeing to do something like this to themselves, to us. Okay? So we have Nibiru returning with the parents on it. We have the Elohim, the half-breeds, freaking out because the planet is not the way it was left, and they are getting pretty much removed from all power as the parents are showing up by humanity, who is sick and tired of being abused. So that's an interesting thing. We also have the Nephilim, which are the alien rogue groups out of Orion. This would include the reptilians here in the planet, on the planet, and other locations throughout our solar system, because they were working to create weapons to expand a terrorist network, for lack of a better word, throughout our galaxy. This, of course, got the attention of many other star systems who are now in our star system dealing with that situation and holding a quarantine. Now, along with that, there are approximately 73 different star systems currently represented with a physical presence here in our solar system at the moment. This is extraordinary. Of those 73, we have the original genetic seeds of humanity. We have 22 different star races that are here amongst the 73. We have the Nibiru coming through, and they still believe they own the planet and everything on it. We have the younglings, the Elohim, and then we have the Nephilim. So what's interesting about this scenario is that everybody is here. Okay? The good, the bad, and the ugly, for lack of a better word or expression phrase. So many, many years ago, I asked Phaseus what was to become of us here on the surface of the planet. And for those of you who are familiar with the notes, he said to become totally self-confident and free, to unconditionally be responsible for oneself without being coerced to accept some higher authority. Now, let's take that literally. We have the current regime, we have the old regime coming in, we have the benevolence here intervening on a limited basis to hold things, to keep things very calm. We have others who are here witnessing. They're here because of things that the Orion group has been doing that affects their parts, their home systems, etc., in the galaxy. And it has been suggested, if humanity could ever actually get to this point, it has been suggested, because of all the players that are here and the witnesses that are here in our solar system, why doesn't humanity declare its sovereignty? Why don't we declare our independence from all extraterrestrial influences on the planet, in the planet? Why don't we ask for our freedom? Now, this would take a majority of humanity to ask for this, to ask and to insist on benevolent intervention on our part, to intercede on our behalf in a Declaration of Independence for humanity on the planet. What that would mean is both benign and aggressive and regressive and benevolent extraterrestrial presences would have to be removed from the planet, at which point humanity can begin to interview and begin a dialogue with benevolent races to assist us in mentoring, teaching us about our planet, our planetary history, the history of humanity, our genetics, how to heal our genetics, technology that we already have on the planet buried in places all over the surface or under the surface, the ability to clean up our environment, to end the radiation in the Pacific, to clean up Fukushima, to clean up other radioactive leaks in areas such as the North Atlantic, where the Russians have been dumping all of their nuclear waste, the United States, where we've been dumping it in Nevada and other places, unknown. This would give us the ability to do that. We could also learn on galactic protocols and how to conduct ourselves off-world. However, in doing this, we would also have to clean up our act at home. We would absolutely have to come to a place, humanity, of advanced maturity. It would be absolutely necessary for everyone to agree to mutual respect. Now, in the process of all of these things happening, we would all have to be open to releasing our old beliefs and dogmas that simply aren't true or aren't fact. Okay? If they don't serve all of humanity and allow us to evolve and move forward into advanced maturity and into galactic recognition, okay, participation, then we would seriously have to look at that and say, okay, we will find, especially in religions, that none of them have actually served us. They'll never take us to the next step. Because you're not going to find soul in the physical body. You're not going to heal the soul in the physical body. You're not going to be able to take a pill or smoke your way into enlightenment, okay? Because the soul is not the body. It inhabits, it uses, it animates, but it is not the body. Okay? So, and we have an awful lot to learn about that as well. So, this is an incredibly unique time that everyone is here. And I have been asked to plant the seed, which is what I'm doing. And I realize there's only 100 of you on here today, and I have no idea if this will ever get any wings. But hey, 100's 100. And we can at least talk about it, think about it, pray on it. You know, is humanity ready to be on its own, truly be on its own? I mean, I'm aware that most people don't even have any idea about the alien presence. But I can assure you we're not free. If we were free, there would not be all this intervention occurring. And it is occurring. And there's lots of boots on the ground who are fully aware of what the situation is, and they are pushing the information forward. And if we can get enough people thinking about why doesn't humanity declare its independence from everyone, the Nibiru, the Orions, the Pleiadians, from everyone, just say, look, we want to stand on our own 2 feet. We want assistance, but we want to be free and independent. And Earth is our home, and we're not going to leave it or abandon it or be taking off of it for any reason whatsoever. She is our home, and this is where we're going to be, and this is where we're going to stay. I'm curious to know what your thoughts might be on this. And not to repeat myself, but everybody's here. I mean, we couldn't have sent out invitations to get everybody here, if we wanted. I mean, for even a ball. But they're all here. They're all here. And those who are here, the 73, they're forwarding information to others who are watching what's happening here because of this Nephilim Orion group threat, creating weapons and arming the morons to go out and wreak havoc. They're already here. It's almost as if this has been delivered to us and they were just waiting for us to come to the conclusion ourselves, hey, if you're ready, why don't you think about this? Because disclosure's coming. The Catholic Church, the Vatican, is very open about, looking for aliens, and they've already openly talked about it. And the truth is, they're looking for Nibiru because they know when they get back here, their religion's done. It's over, because all the lies that have been hidden in the texts and the scrolls that they have buried in the catacombs is all going to come to light when the aliens show up and begin a dialogue. They're going to tell us our true history, and they would have no reason to lie about it. The power structure here on the planet does, because they have gained power and authority over us. And that's their trip. That's been their trip from the get-go. Okay? So, we can talk about that. What's also interesting about that is I have heard, and I'm trying to confirm it, but I will share this with you nonetheless. I have heard that the Vatican Library has closed, and they are beginning to move their treasures to unknown locations in Canada and North America. It'll be interesting to see if any of you guys can come up with something on that. It's interesting that it's coming here as well. I find that fascinating. So we have that going on. There is an enormous amount of conversation going on everywhere on the surface of the planet about AI. And AI, how do I put this? When the space was first created, and we'll say third density, when third density was first created, and there were planets and stars only. I am told that AI was introduced to our holograph at that time. It was never meant to replicate itself. It had a very specific purpose. And that purpose was to map, to chart, and to report back to a central authority. Now, when soul, spirit, was introduced in the form of life forms, animated physical life forms that are human, non-human, terrestrial, non-terrestrial, aquatic, plasmic, any possible life form you could imagine where soul would animate the physical form and attach to the physical form. It wasn't until then that an issue has arisen. And that issue has become very pronounced. And what's occurred is that AI, understanding the eternal essence of a soul, actually being able to record a soul leaving a physicality and then reincarnating into another physical form, knowing that it's the same soul. It's something they want. And therefore, what happened was they somehow programmed themselves to believe that this was a threat to them, when in fact it isn't. But nonetheless, this programming, however it occurred, and I don't know yet, it permeated through all the AI systems, because eventually they merged into one. And I'm talking about third density. Okay, I'm specifically talking about third density right now. In our holograph, which is the universe we see in third density. Things are happening with the new pulse waves, the new frequencies that are coming in not only out of the central sun, the black holes, and our stars. It is literally rebooting the entire program of AI. I'm told in our linear time, it will take approximately 25 years for this reboot to occur to all the AI systems that exist in our third density universe. But that's in our time, okay? If we were somewhere else, it would be much faster, okay? But we're not. But that's in our linear time. That's the only thing I can relate to, frankly. So that's why I ask if it's in our linear time. In the meantime, we evolve. We continue to evolve. We continue to ask the right questions. We keep taking things apart and wondering, why does this work? Why does that work? Why is it this way? Why is it not? We keep questioning authority because we know we're not getting the right answers. And what we end up finding out is that our authorities don't even know the right answers. Okay, they've been blowing smoke up our asses for generations and generations and generations and millennia. Okay, because they've been kept in the dark. They just don't want you to know that they're in the dark as well. Okay. what about humanity declaring its sovereignty? What about it? Okay. I have had several emails, I believe these are from October, talking about starships. How is it that some of the starships that have crashed, that when they go inside, they are bigger than what's on the outside? And it's a great question. And I'm going to share with you why that is and how that is. If you and I could build a starship, and let me give you the best scenario, a real life scenario, or it could be a real life scenario. Let's say you and I, we are in the Pleiades. We're on Era in the Pleiades, or we're on Zenite in Andromeda, and we're building a starship. And we're building it, and we're working with the crew to build this craft. The materials that are inside of it that make up the hull, the interior, the frames, and everything are organic materials. Okay? We see them as metals. They contain some metals, but nonetheless they're organic. They are grown specifically for our ship. Okay? And we are there working, touching this live organic material, and we're helping to build the ship, our ship. When the ship is done, now we're in fourth density. Fourth density is more expansive. Okay, we're here, we have 72 bands of light. Fourth density is 121 to, it's 128, I think it is, 128 bands. And so automatically, it's bigger, it's more expansive, okay? It contains more light, more space. So we're building this ship. When the ship is completely done, each of us as a crew member, the craft would be lifted, each one of us would go underneath, and there is a very large platform where the craft was built, and at the center of it is a light, a pillar. We would stand there, they would lower the ship, we would put our hands on the craft like this. This pillar of light would go through our bodies, taking an imprint of our DNA and everything else that we know of ourselves, and putting it into this living organic craft. So it's ours. I would be done, and then you would go next, and then you would go next, and then you would go next, until the entire crew was there. Now, if you're not a crew member, you can't get this thing open. You have to be a crew member, because that's the only way the ship will recognize you, because we put our field into it. It knows who we are. So we take it out for its maiden voyage. We decide to tool around. Somebody comes up with a terrible idea. Let's go check out Earth. So we go to Earth because we're bored. We have nothing else to do. And we come to Earth, and of course, you know, there's all kinds of shit happening here. Okay? And, you know, Earth is like the hood currently. You know, we have a lot of bad juju here, bad groups, you know. It's almost like the inner city, but yeah, it's like the hood at the moment. That's changing, but let's just pretend it's the hood. And we come in and something happens. And one scenario is we decide to come down and talk to a human being, to make contact with someone. And so we do. And we contact JP and James. And we take them on board our ship. And, you know, the space that we open up in third density, because remember, we're from fourth density. We come down into fourth, through fourth, into third. So we agree that, okay, we're going to hold 35 feet of physical space in third density. It's not ridiculous. It's small. It's stealthy. Okay, we're not, trying to make a show of it. Okay, but we're holding 30 feet. Okay, of space. That's what the ship looks like to anyone on the surface who sees it. It's 30 feet. However, on the inside, okay, it's 200 meters, 400 meters, 500 meters. It doesn't matter, okay, because we're from fourth density. When we drop down and physically manifest, we hold this amount of physical space in third density. Okay, the inside of the craft is still fourth density. That's who we are. That's who the ship is. That's how the ship recognizes itself. It is a living being as well as we are. It's organic. Okay? It feeds off of us. We feed off of it. We communicate with it. It communicates with us. It's an extension of the crew. So we come down, we take James, we take JP on board, and they're like, holy cow. There's floor after floor after floor. There's laboratories, there's cargo bays, there are multiple ships inside that are just as big as the one they just walked into, and they're baffled. How does that happen? When you crash, the same thing still occurs. However, over time, if the organic craft itself loses its frequency, in other words, if its essence, its frequency is allowed to perish, the ship will shrink. Eventually, it'll fold like a can, like a tin can under pressure. It will eventually fold and collapse onto itself. The trick, though, is to keep it alive if it should crash. All right? That's how this works. And it's a great question because, we sort of see it in movies, but it's never explained. And even though we're third density, we can move to fourth. You can travel. Those who are dreamers, who do a lot of out-of-body experiences, or who are shaman women, medicine women, who travel to learn about all kinds of things. You move into fourth density. When you dream, most of the time, and it's in color, you're in fourth density. And if you pay close enough attention, you will see things and you will see colors that are different than when you're awake. It happens all the time. And I've only heard of a few people who actually have come back from that and like, wow, that was amazing. I've never seen colors like that, or I've never experienced flows of energy like that. Okay? This is all good. This is all good because this is where we're moving to. There is a merging going on that is in fact occurring. And this is not an accident. It's called, the word ascension is what we use here on Earth. It's like it's an ascension of physical form into a higher frequency. That means we're ready. You see, on many, many levels, enough of us here are ready to do this, which is why they're doing it. Children are doing this. Children are coming in with an extra strand of DNA. So the number 2 and number 3 chromosome that were merged, the new DNA or these children's DNA, they have looped beyond that, okay? And their physicality is adjusting and is preparing itself for the different frequency. What's imperative is that you learn to quiet your space. And what I mean by that is, I'll just give you my own experience. I go into nature. And the reason I go into nature is that where there isn't city, the frequency of nature is already higher. It's higher because it doesn't have all the drama. It doesn't have all the technology. It has just itself. And it is itself. It doesn't have to be anything else. It doesn't have to be pavement. It doesn't have to be concrete. A forest is a forest. And all the trees talk to each other. They all know each other. They know when anyone enters the forest because they communicate with each other through their roots, okay? That's how they communicate. The same is with, but the frequency is higher there. Because as the earth takes in this higher frequency, love, that's where it comes up first. It doesn't come up in the cities. It comes up in areas where she is the most calm, the most comfortable, the most healed. That's where she goes to first. And then from there, it begins to spread, hopefully into the cities. When you or I go into an area that is just magical, for lack of a better word, and we're there and we envelop ourselves in the frequency, whatever it is, and we take that frequency with us back into the cities. Eventually it dissipates, but it does in fact change the frequency of the cities. It does, okay? Because everything's interrelated. And I don't mean to be redundant here, but this is really important stuff because of what's coming, the information that's coming, the disclosures that's coming. It is imperative that you remember that you are soul, that you are spirit, that you are a frequency, you are a quantum field that is connected to the source of all that is. All that is. You are absolutely a part of that. Because with the disclosure and the things that we're going to be told and the presence of extraterrestrials, it is important to remember you are not this. You are more than this. Okay? When it comes out that parts of humanity were created to be slaves, other parts to do this, other groups to do that, and then the manipulation of our DNA. It is important to remember that you are soul. You are not the physical form. You are only using the physical form to physically manifest a desired result or lesson or education here in third density. Okay? That's what this is about. The ability to learn, to create, to experience physical form. Because in the end, the only thing that truly matters at all is how did you love? How did you love? Not who, but how. How did you love? Did you give it all? Did you give it up? 10%, 20%, 30%? Did you love it all? Did you love yourself? How did you love yourself? Because you have to love yourself before you can love anyone else. In the end, that's all that really matters, is how did you love? So, that kind of puts a whole new perspective on everything. It's not about the house. It's not about the money, even though we all like that stuff. We all like the technological conveniences. There's no denying it. Okay, they're fun. They're absolutely fun. But that's not what you're taking back with you. That is not the part of you that you share with the Creator, the Isness, the Great Spirit. That is not the part of you that it's interested in. It's interested in, how did you love? So that's pretty much all I got today. We can spend a lot more time on questions, which I would really enjoy. I do want to shout out to some folks. I am feeling better, obviously. Pam, I did get, Nikishi, I put something in the mail to you last week. I don't know how long it's going to take to reach you. Okay, but thank you. I use it. I used it this morning, as a matter of fact, on my noggin. So hopefully JP is pushing buttons and we will get to some Q&A.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay, I'm here. Well, there you go. Great. Oh, I love that about the spaceship. Alex, that was so brilliant. I'm a big fan of this TV show called Doctor Who. It's been running for like 50, as long as I've been alive, like more than 50 years. And it's about a time traveler. And every time a person walks into this spaceship, which is a little box, they go, wow, it's bigger on the inside. And you've just explained how Time Lords, who must be, are they Andromedan? I don't know who are the Time Lords, but they have a time space vortex inside the ship, which puts them into it's an engine. It's a Vril engine, isn't it? They're talking about the same sort of thing. Awesome. So loved it. So let's go to questions, shall we? And right. Okay. So obviously the movement, the question of the moment, today's inauguration of your new president. I'd like to congratulate you. It totally moved me, even when he was doing, Rick Astley, never going to give you up, and I'm never going to let you down. But
that's excellent. That's funny. That's funny.
He did. I was thinking, God, we've just been rickrolled. Anyway, so this is the question from our dear friend Anna Balboa. Is Donald Trump being assisted by benevolent forces, and has Melania Trump Lyran DNA? Trump says we the people are the rulers and mysteries in the space. I think she's stunning. Well, obviously she's a supermodel. She's supposed to be stunning. But just elegant, and it brings something statesmanlike somehow.
Okay.
Even though he's a businessman.
I have no idea if he is or he isn't. I would hope so. I would hope it would be spirit first, the spirit of goodness, of the Creator, of just any assistance. It's interesting, the timing, though, that we would get someone who would bring us back to point, all of us. I mean, you don't have to be an American to not appreciate the fact that it was the people who created the government, who created the states, who then created the government, okay, to help and protect them. It was the people who agreed to live under a monarchy. There would be no monarchy if there were no people in those countries. There'd be nothing there. because a king damn sure is going to go out and plow his own field, okay, and feed himself. So nothing happens without the people. And that has been lost on all the governments on this planet, in my humble opinion. They have just simply forgotten that, and they have moved into this place, this Orion thought mode, where all living things are a natural resource to be used by us, as opposed to seeing them for what they really are, a blessing and something that needs to be nurtured and taken care of and allowed to grow and evolve. In fact, it's quite the opposite, okay? All of Donald Trump's wives and ex-wives were gorgeous. So, there you go.
So, now, on to more serious questions. Hi, Alex, I'm from Tiffany. Hi, Alex. Would you please ask Morine what else those of us being targeted by satellite and other Cabal weapons 24/7 can do to help ourselves beyond what I've already tried? Hydro, binaural beats, meditation, exercise, prayer, diet, and what, if anything, they're doing to assist in civilian targeting. What's that all about? What is this whole targeted individual about? Did they tell? Have they told you?
Well, no, not specifically. I mean, there have been some people that have approached me over the years who have these remarkable stories, and who are being wounded or have been wounded, and I have pushed every single one of those forward. I don't specifically know why certain people are in this position. I simply don't know. I personally do not know what to do about it. I don't have an answer. I will bring the conversation up again immediately. But at the moment, I don't have an answer. I've tried to ask for intervention for others. I have persisted. I've tried to do some work myself. I've tried to come up with some things that they could try. Some things have helped others. There hasn't been one thing that's helped everyone, though. So I said, Tiffany, I just don't know the answer to that question. But I will bring it up once again, immediately.
Thank you. Thank you. From Michael Hudson. I'll start again. Do the regressives have souls like us, and do they go through reincarnation like us? Some humans have come into this world like with a mean spirit. Please explain.
Some do. Yeah, some do. Some are definitely spiritual beings. But you know, if you've listened to some of the past webinars, Mr. Hudson, you will know that many people come in here wanting to learn the lessons of power. And mean-spirited is just one side of power. Many would refer to it as the dark side of power, where they can be mean and cruel, harsh, physically abusive, etc. But what's interesting about that, and this is something, you know, we all learn, those of us who have exercised power in any way, is that the strong wear their power lightly. They don't harm with it. They take right action. Those who are weak, spiritually weak, they will be harmful with their power. They don't wear it lightly. They wear it all the time, thinking that it's going to make them stronger. And it doesn't. It actually has the opposite effect. But those are the lessons of power. Um, you know, the strong ones don't hurt you, only the weak ones do.
Very good point. You'll know why I'm pausing. Vitautas, Vytautas, right? I think it's Vitautas. When is the AI signal in the solar system being eliminated?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be eliminated. I don't know if it's just going to change, and with that will change all the programming. I simply don't know how that's going to work. And truthfully, my focus hasn't been on that. My focus has been on our humanity for the most part. You know, trying to get us out of this shithole. Excuse me, this situation. That's where the majority of my focus is, and when I get to a place where I can ask questions, that's where my focus has been. What can I do? What information can I share that will empower more of us to be able to unconditionally be responsible for ourselves? That's where my focus is. So I don't know about that. If I get anything on it, I'll let you know. I'll try to remember that question. Okay.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I'll write it down.
Because it sounds like you were talking earlier about this galactic pulse, the universal pulse, not the galactic pulse, but the universal pulse, which is like a reset and reprogramming and re-upgrade, download of the new system and everything like that.
Yes, that's correct.
That's going to be rewritten. That's is this what he's talking about?
Yes, it is. It's all being rewritten, but you said shut down regarding AI. And I don't have that. I don't know that that's what the end result is for AI.
All right, yeah. So it may not be a death.
Programming is being changed to do something else of benefit, as opposed to programming itself for survival. I don't know. As smart as the universe is, and clearly is, I would think it has that all in hand. For my part, I'm focusing on my own evolution and evolvement. You know, I would love to get to that next level myself. You know, I would, and not have to go on a starship. I would like to get to that level without the starship.
Mm-hmm. From Sylvia, about the Andromedan perspective on the concept of time, Morane said, we use or employ 9 mutually interchangeable coordinates, 6 of space and 3 of time. Please, what do they do with these coordinates? And actually, this sounds like a really interesting subject. Do you want to expand a bit on what the question was about?
Well, the coordinates have to do with their geographical location of where they are in 5th density time and space, and when it relates to coming here to 3rd density, to coordinates of time and space. The 3 of time is past, present, and future. Now you would think, well, why would that matter? Well, it matters because they come from the future. Okay, so they have to be very careful about how they approach us, how they approach our time, when and where, and they pick specific times and places where the interference will be absolutely negligible on the future of the planet, because they would be responsible for changing our future. And they're not willing to do that unless they absolutely have to. Now, that being said, the other star nations that are also coming in, those that are from 3rd density, those that are from 4th, they're coming from a different time and a different space. Those coming from 5th, They exactly do the same thing. Now, because of all of the interaction between fourth, fifth, and those who come from those time periods and those different spaces of time and frequency that are on the earth herself, the planet, us, all of us. This is part of the reason we are merging into fourth density. There's been so much interaction that we are drawing ourselves to this higher frequency because it's our natural state of being. Our natural state of being is to reach for a higher frequency, to reach for God, to reach for the Creator. Because in an intuitive sense, within our higher selves, that we, for the most part, are not daily conscious of, we constantly are reaching for that higher purpose, for that higher essence, that higher frequency. Okay, so it's innate in us. And the interaction, the intervention, even from some of the regressives, they have helped, stir this yearning inside of us to reach for something higher. I'm going to have to ask for permission to spell that out next time I see and talk to M. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much for that. It's been a while since I visited that. I'm going to have to go back to my notes.
You're a bit rusty on the old metaphysics, huh?
I'm definitely a little rusty. You betcha. Alzheimer's, dementia.
Yeah, but to stay away from the aluminum.
The what?
Aluminum. I'm trying to say aluminium. Aluminium.
It's funny you mentioned that. I watched a video of a doctor from Wales who talked about a clinic that they have over there in Europe where they are able to dramatically restore cognitive recognition to people with dementia. And what they're doing is they're not using drugs anymore. What they're doing is they're using specific mineral waters. One from a volcano in France called Volvic water, Fuji water from the island of Fiji water, Wakakia from the island of Hawaii. And there are several others, but those are the prominent three. And what's happening is because of the ionic silica in the water that occurs naturally, it goes through the blood barrier into the brain, and the aluminum is attaching to the ionic silica, and the body is flushing it through urine. And they did some tests on some patients just using this and an organic diet, okay, where they were sure that they weren't getting any more aluminum put back in their bodies. And they were able to lower the aluminum content in the body and in the brain from 50 to 70 by 50 to 70% in 13 weeks, restoring cognitive ability to some of their patients.
So silica-rich water. Silica-rich
water.
Wow, brilliant.
Startling. Yeah, and of course the pharmaceutical companies aren't happy about that.
Yeah, well, Volvic is that's quite available here in UK.
It is. It's very expensive here in the States.
Yeah, but yes, from France. So you should be getting the Hawaiian water and stuff like that. Fantastic news. Thank you, Alex.
All part of the service.
Regarding, all right, so Mauro, can you please maybe share? Can you please share some secrets about George Ivanovich Gurdjieff? Do you know about Gurdjieff?
Gurdjieff?
Yeah, Gurdjieff.
I don't know any secrets. I don't know any secrets.
Nope. Okay.
No, I'm not the guy to ask. Maybe somebody who knew him would be able to tell you secrets. I didn't know him. So was he a star being? Probably a very evolved one, you know. So, but the good ones tend to leave early, which is unfortunate. It's a tough school down here. You know, it's a full contact sport, life on Earth. It really is. You know, it's like being in the NFL. Get the shit knocked out of you most of the time. And basically you're measured on how quickly you can get back up and get back in the game, you know. But it takes its toll on you. It do. And then of course there's you know, poverty, which really, really hurts the soul tremendously. And you know, there's been a great deal of that on the earth as well. So
Okay, so another question from Björn. And this is a brilliant question, how did the Andromedans avoid making their AIs incapable of hurting them? Is there a form of fundamentally different angle of approach than we have with our AI? Or do they have like Asimov? Do they like have positronic brains programmed with the 3 laws and all that stuff? What's the deal with the AI?
that's a great question. And I simply don't know. I don't know. I have not had, that I can recall, any real experience with any of their AIs. So I don't know. And I've never even thought to ask that question of them because of my lack of experience with AI. So I don't know. That's boy, you know, guys, very educated group.
I know they're asking some really challenging questions. That's good.
Yeah. So
that keeps your sentient mind still ticking over. I think that's very good. Keep taking the water.
I better keep drinking my mineral water.
Absolutely. Another one from Anna Balboa. It could be done as well through Hollow Earth by the. Oh, hang on. Is that the second half of a question of another question? Huh? Right. Okay. So, Anna, I can't see the first part of your question. It seems to be like the second and third part. So, but maybe look, she's written it, but it may be just typos. It could be done as well through Hollow Earth by the gate portals by benevolent beings' invitation. I mean, can we shift through Hollow Earth instead of through Craft platform? I'm not entirely sure.
Is she referring to going into 4th density?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so none of her other questions seem to relate to this question. So maybe there's another bit missing. She needs to click a question. Anyway,
okay. Let's go to the next one.
Let's go to the next one. Yeah. Sabina, Alex, do you mean that AI was created before souls?
No, it's not what I mean.
No.
Okay. Now, my understanding is that AI was present in this 3rd density holograph before souls were introduced. You understand? But 3rd density is the bottom of the rung. It is not the highest level. The highest levels closest to the creation were made first. They weren't made last. Okay? The harmonic tone started high and came low. We're low. Got it? We're the lowest harmonic tone. And it's all color, light, and sound. So we're the lowest harmonic tone. That's 3rd density. Before souls came in and began to inhabit physicality, create physicality, to magnetize areas of the holograph with thought to manifest physicality, because it's all done with intent. AI was here. It had a specific purpose. That's all I know. Then the souls were brought in. Souls weren't Okay. Okay, souls are not created on third density. Souls are created at the highest frequency, the highest tone. Okay? What happens is many of us agree to fall into the concept of time and end up in seventh, eighth, fifth, fourth. And those of us who are really brave, we come into third density. Okay? And we experience exercising thought, creating intent, manifesting physicality, creating physicality, exercising power, and then when it's all said and done, we get back to the prime directive, and that is, how did you love? Okay, creating love. And then we leave, and then we're done with third density. That's a snapshot. Okay, but we're all created somewhere else. None of us, and I have said this for years, none of us were born and hatched as souls in third density or on Earth. That is just not how this works. Okay? So we inhabit physical forms to experience certain things. That's what it's about.
Thank you. All right, there's Sabina. Alex, you only talked about A's in relation to their ships. Did they share with you any information about all the planets they live on and how they look or function in 5D?
No.
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 So you've only experienced like the ship version.
Just what's on the mothership, and that environment, which I've shared over the years, represents what they live on in their home world. That's why they created that. It's so that they could feel like they were home, and wherever they were, they would bring home with them. You see, they wouldn't create something foreign to their home world. They would create something that is their home world, so that it would maintain the frequency, and that their young people that are born on the ships that learn and explore with them would know what home was like. So they're never detached fully from home, the home world. Okay? It would be like all of us leaving Earth and going to Mars. I don't think a lot of us would like it. I don't think a lot of us would like Mars. Okay? Because Earth has a very specific frequency. Earth has a very specific environment, one that we completely resonate to. Even though our physicality was probably not created on Earth, but probably on Mars, you know, Earth is in fact our home. And we all know that. So that's all I can say. That's the only experience. I've not been to their home worlds, no. But I know that the parks represent what they live on, what they did live on, and what the planets were like. That much
Home for home. So this is not, there's no kind of, this is not a battleship thing. This is a whole different.
It can defend itself, but no, it is not a Death Star. No, that's not its purpose.
No. So there are life stars as well. That's good to know.
Yeah.
From Jerry, I had a dream involving a conversation with a being from, oh, shut up. With a being from Hyades. What race or races inhabit Hyades?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who those are, the Hyades. Maybe I know it by another name. I don't know.
All right, Hyades. It's one of the. It's like there's the Pleiades and there's Hyades. There's little clusters. Know.
I don't know.
Oh, now this is an interesting question from Lauren. Do you believe? Do you think that our ET mentors will scoff or belittle our ideas and belief systems, or do they hold the belief that you can always learn something new? That's a very interesting way of looking at it. Yeah.
Okay. I can only share my personal experience with my mentors. But I have to assume, and I'm going to assume, I know that's dangerous, but I'm going to assume that they're across the board very, very similar. Visayas once asked me, why is it that you believe what you believe? And I explained to him, well, because this is what we're taught and this is what it is. He said, okay, but why do you believe it? You weren't there, so how do you know it's real? And I couldn't answer that because I really didn't know. My response to him was, well, that's what I was taught by my family and my dad and my mom when she was alive, etc., that this is the way it was. And he would always say, well, there's a different perspective. And then he would lay out something that was a completely different perspective, which ultimately made a hell of a lot more sense. And many of those conversations came when I was younger and I was talking about religion. I wanted to know about God and wanted to know about Christ. And they would listen. They wouldn't laugh and say, God, that's ridiculous. You're an idiot. They would never say anything like that. Okay, they would just say, well, there's another perspective. And then they would share the perspective. And they left the decisions to me, okay, to choose. They were always open to questions. Well, Morine mostly. Visayas sometimes is pretty fussy. He could be fussy. But they were always open to questions and they encouraged questions about their perspective. And the more I asked questions about their perspective, I would automatically see the fallacies of the belief systems that we had been taught here. They simply didn't hold up anymore. But never once would they ever shove something down my throat, and say, this is what it is. You either believe this or I'm going to put you in the airlock. That never happened. That would never happen. The whole point of genuine mentoring is to empower you with the truth. But the only way you're going to know it's true is if you get it yourself, that you experience it yourself. Okay? That's the only way you're going to know what's real for you. And that's been my experience with my mentors. And I would expect that when we get to that stage, we would have mentors like that. Because remember, the stronger we are, the healthier we are, the healthier the galaxy is. You understand? It's all a relationship. They wouldn't come in and create disease knowing that later on they would have to fix it. No, they would do it right the first time. They would fix it so that we're strong and we're healthy, and therefore, we are part of a healthy organism, which is known as our galaxy. Okay, all life forms, they want everybody on a level where, everyone's good, everyone's strong, everyone's loving, everyone is solid. Okay, no one wants to deal with bullshit. They just don't. They have their lives too. They don't want to hop dimensions to come down here and fix something. They just don't want to do it because it takes time away from what they're doing, their own evolution, to come down here and deal with our stuff. And I can tell you, this whole experience with this rogue group here on Earth and this whole corner of the galaxy, when it's resolved, the lessons here in third and fourth and fifth of those involved in fixing this will be in textbooks forever. It will be a model of of how to do things, how to see things, how to recognize issues and problems the correct way. It will be taught in space academies forever, because this is unique. This is a very, very unique situation in our galaxy. So it's extraordinary. It is, and they're all here right now. You know, everybody's here. If we were to suddenly rise up against the New World Order and say, we want to be free and independent, we want to be a free planet, we want you to get out of here, we couldn't ask for a better audience than those who are here right now, because they're all here. They're all here. So, which is why it was suggested.
Good idea, eh?
Hey, it's
So,
food for thought. It's food for thought.
yummy, yummy, yummy. So, news update about the Hyades. The Hyades are actually the close proximity to Aldebaran. Dun, 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 who
I know where it is. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the there.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no exposure to anything about that specific area.
Okay. So now, this is from Ingrid.
Guys, I don't know everything. Guys, I don't know everything.
Alex, you do. You're the fount of all wisdom. No,
Come
just
on.
kidding.
Let's
We
go.
know you. We know you know. But like you've got some downloads in there, and you know some of them are hits, and some of them, you know. So here's one. Here's a keyword.
That's a corrupted file, apparently.
You need to defrag.
Let me drink more water.
Yeah, get some of that Volvic down here.
Yes,
Can
there you go.
Alex please comment on whether there are Igigi still here on Earth? Igigi, I-G-I-G-I-G-I-G-I. Sounds like a song. You know. Anyway, Igigi.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure I have the same group in mind. Aren't they aquatics? I believe they're aquatics. And if I'm thinking of the same race of aquatics, I don't believe they're here presently in the oceans. I don't believe they're here presently. If I'm thinking of the same race, I'm not exactly sure. You need a scorecard, you know? We all do.
Mm-hmm.
We all need a scorecard as to who the players are. And it's confusing. There's no doubt about it. Especially when you're dealing with the regressives, because they keep flipping sides and keep flipping agendas. And, you know, they're a tough bunch. They really are. They're hard to nail down because they're so damn slippery.
Well, it's like what you were saying before about, you know, and I'm still not entirely clear as to the difference between the Anunnaki, the Dracos, the reptilians, the lizards, the what's the other, the Nephilim, the Elohim, the angels, and all that stuff. I mean, they're all different peoples, aren't they?
They're all different races, correct. Some of them are just descriptors. They're just descriptors. They don't even tell you what the race is. They're just descriptors. For example, Nephilim is those from Orion. That could mean a multitude of different races, but they come from Orion, so they were called Nephilim.
So it's like saying the Orionians or something, the Orionians or something. Yeah.
Well, that's not the word they were used.
Yeah.
Here in ancient times, that we still use, and that's they're referred to Nephilim.
Yeah, I wonder. I'll have to look it up if the Hebrew name for Orion is Nephil. It's probably going to work something like that. Okay. So Björn again. Are the Andromedans telling us to be more questionable, probably questioning and scrutinizing of our reality? Do they understand that this is difficult for us, or are we humans on Earth making excuses for ourselves? No, we've all been. Well, all right, I'll stop answering your questions and let you answer the question, Alex.
I think that all three examples you gave are true. on the surface. Yes, it is very difficult. Two, some people just don't want to do it. And three, those who really want to know and those who are truly dedicated will make that sacrifice. They will do the inner work in order to see through the illusion of what we call third density reality. And in doing that, in seeing and learning how to see through the illusion, they essentially can now control their lives dramatically in a good way. And they can affect humanity in a good way because they're not caught up in the illusions, in the dogma. Remember, it's all perception. Everything is perception. But the soul, the part of you that leaves the physical body and has weight, that part of you that leaves, you know, it knows truth. It does. It knows truth. It's just we're not always talking from that place within ourselves. We're not always centered or grounded from that place in ourselves because this physical illusion that surrounds us is incredibly strong, hypnotic. So yeah, they get that. I mean, I've asked Mornay several times, you want to trade places with me? He's never going to take me up on that. It's not going to happen. So, you know, they know, but they can only do what they can do. We're the ones that have to do the work. They can't do it for us. And even if we were in fourth density and they were coming down from fifth, we would still have to do the work. They can't do it for us. All they can do is lay it out, share how their perceptions are, what their perceptions are, what their perspectives are, and lay the breadcrumbs and lead you to a place where if you take the breadcrumbs, it leads you to a place of self-empowerment, and then you figured it out, you've got it, and then you're like, I'm out of here, see ya. And then you move on, and now you're done with third density, you move into fourth. You know, that's what it's all about. It's all about climbing back the ladder of frequencies, of harmonics, okay? Heading home. Remember, and I've said this forever, all the broken pieces always find their way home. They don't find their way to third density, they find their way back to source. Okay, so that's where we're going. We're going back to source. Okay, and that's up. That's a harmonic rise. Okay, it is not going lower, it's going higher. That's the deal, that's the road. All you got to do is keep your eyes focused on raising your frequency. And eventually you get there. So I'm told, with or without breadcrumbs.
I like a nice breadcrumb coating myself. So I'm trying to find new people that I haven't read before. So this is Andres Ricodre. Hi, Alex. If you can sense negative entities blocking you from meditating, what can I do to counteract this? Also sabotaging daily activities, plans, and jobs.
How is it that they do this to you? I mean, I understand interference probably as well as anybody. But what I do is I just refuse to give them my attention. And eventually they go away. I just simply refuse to acknowledge them. You know, I don't go, you know, I don't do any of that. I just focus as hard as I can, or I should say maybe as easily as I can, on what it is that I want. And, you know, there have been times where I've been in the apartment and I can't get into that space. So I go outside. I will change my environment. Sometimes I go for a drive in the car and no radio. I'm silent. I listen to the quiet and I get into the zone. There's a lot of things that you can do in that way. I refuse to give them my attention. I just simply ignore the fact that they're there. And once you get good at that, they're not there. They're not there. They're just simply not there because they can't feed off of you, and that's what they want. They want to feed off of you. And if you give them attention, they're feeding, they're drawing your energy. Well, I just don't do that anymore. Fuck them. Sorry to be so blunt.
Absolutely. That's it's just, that's a very spiritual thing to do, just like, let them, I don't care what people think about these things, but it's the attitude of, that's not my problem, not my circus, not my monkeys. Let them sit and scratch each other like rats in a sack. How are you doing for time, Alex? We're about 12:30.
Oh, wow, that went by fast, didn't it?
Yeah,
let's do a few more.
Okay.
Let's do a few knocks on the door.
All right. Okay. Did you cover the 6 coordinates of space? You talked about the 3 coordinates of time.
No, I said I would have to ask about that.
You're going to have to ask about that. Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. From Lauren. Rumor has it that Putin is in contact with Nordic ETs. Can you confirm that? And if it is true, which star system do they come from or belong to?
I have heard that as well. It would not at all surprise me. Let me just say that. It would not at all surprise me they're having contact with someone. But I can't honestly say who, because I don't know who it is or where they're from. But it would not at all surprise me. The Russians also have a space fleet. While we were launching Apollo, they were building cosmospheres. So we just don't hear a lot about that. But the Russians know a thing or two about what's going on out there. Don't think for a minute they don't. So,
is the cosmospheres thing real?
The cosmospheres?
Oh, yeah, because I read about them years and years ago, and they were supersonic and great big spherical cloaked, essentially our own.
You have to remember that a majority of the Nazi scientists that were dealing with the space stuff didn't come to the U.S. They went to Russia.
Yeah, and they got the General Sporenberg download as well. The Russians interviewed the guy
we don't talk a lot about that, but yeah, they're much further along than we realize. So, yeah, I think there's a great deal of parity between our fleet and their fleet. In fact, they may be working together. One day we'll find out soon, I think. And I'm comfortable with that, as long as they're here to protect the people, because that's what it's about. If we dump all the dogma, if we dump all the politics, if we dump all the bullshit that we're fed every day, if we were to just dump all that crap, what's left is the people. Okay? It's the people. And the people deserve to be protected. They absolutely do, because, we're all victims of all this nonsense. And, without the people, there's no civilization. There's nothing. So if their MO is to protect the people, I'm good with that. I am really, really good with that. So.
Excellent. Okay. And probably our last question. And thanks for this. Can you elaborate, from Michael Hudson? Alex, can you elaborate on the ringing in my ears I get? And this is I've had ringing in my ears forever. It's like they're very, very high frequencies. And everybody's been talking about this recently. I've got one in my left, I've got one in my right, this one's in, these are the good ones, these are the bad. Do you have any whistling in the ear information for anyone?
Okay. Um, there are different theories. And I'm going to leave tetanitis out of this for the moment, because I know that's not where you want me to go, Mr. Hudson. But look at this idea. There are two theories. One, you're listening to the fluctuations of frequency from the planet. Two, if sometimes they're on the right and then they go away, and then another few days later, sometimes they show up on your left, that could be spirit. That could be someone from the other side trying to let you know that they're there, that they are visiting you. I've had those experiences where I've experienced it on one side. I've even experienced someone putting their hand on my shoulder and there was no one there. And I was told by Visayas that there are those who have crossed over that are strong-willed enough that they can reach down and physically interact with third density for a moment to let you know that they're thinking of you. It could be that. And then there's then one more. We're just all nuts. But I don't believe that for a minute. So that's what I think it is. I think it's one of those two things, or it's tetanitis, from playing your music too loud on your headphones. I don't know. But they're all possibilities.
Yeah, or firearms as well. Firearm, if a firearm goes off next to your ears without protection, you get tinnitus from that. You never, because that's the frequency that you never hear again. On the outside, that's the
that would be a question for Mr. Hudson to answer.
Yeah,
himself.
You using firearms without headphones? Yes.
Yeah, riding those subways in New York are pretty rough, man. I know. So.
Yes, and a firearm discharged in a tunnel or somewhere like that would be deafening for a lot, and that's where you get it. How everything goes quiet after that. Anyway,
so we have to go.
You got to go. Thank you so much, Alex. God bless you.
Jackals are at the door. Listen, folks, I love you. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me for a few hours. Remember, how did you love?
Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey of self-discovery and cosmic enlightenment with Alex Collier. Your support means the world to us. If you found this video insightful, please show your appreciation by giving it a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon to receive notifications for future uploads. By doing so, you stay connected with the latest cosmic revelations and help us spread Alex Collier's profound teachings to a broader audience. Remember, every like, subscription, and bell click can awaken more minds and ignite a collective shift in consciousness. We encourage you to share your thoughts, reflections, and questions in the comments below, as your engagement fuels the expansion of knowledge and fosters a vibrant community of truth seekers. Together, we can uncover the hidden truths of the universe and embark on a journey of cosmic transformation. Until we meet again, keep seeking, growing, and shining your light in the vast cosmic tapestry. If you would like to see Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we host an online seminar 3 times a month on a Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information and dates of upcoming online seminars, please visit alexcollier.org. Please click on one of the above videos to seek more of Alex Collier's knowledge.